This is the Music Therapy Chronicles podcast interview with the team of Music Therapy Made Simple.
There's so many pieces that are really important, but I think writing that out and kind of seeking out what that plan might look like when you're starting something is critical. Yeah.
And I think honestly, one of the biggest things when we started too was understanding too that we're gonna make mistakes, but all of those are gonna be opportunities for us to learn so much more. And so the mistakes that are happening or the things that we post that have spelling errors, or when we realize that we forgot to link a document in one of the purchases that people can buy, all those things where we're like, okay, well now we know, right? So I think when you're starting, recognize that the mistakes are only going to continue to help you to produce what you want to produce. And it doesn't mean that you're not capable, right? I think it just provides so many more opportunities for growth and adjustments. And I think that's so important as you're starting out, and recognizing that all of these things that happen and that feel like almost the weight of the world when they're on you because you're so excited, that it really is just going to provide more opportunities for you to adapt and change and provide what is needed because you're learning yourself. And so I think don't be afraid to welcome those mistakes and be like, all right, we're going to sit in this. It doesn't feel right, but here it is. It happened, And so we had to learn that ourselves too, as we're producing stuff and creating materials and just in general. And so I think when starting out, just recognizing it's okay. It's all part of the process.
You're listening to the Music Therapy Chronicles, a podcast about music therapy from a variety of perspectives. Our ambition is to inspire and connect listeners through meaningful conversations, just like a music therapy conference you can listen to anywhere. My name is Trisha Coyote, and I am a board-certified music therapist from the New England region. If you like what you hear, join our group on Facebook and share your own insights and thoughts about the episodes. You can also connect with us on social media and online at Music Therapy Chronicles. Hello and welcome back to the Music Therapy Chronicles. Today's episode is part 2 of my conversation with Katie, Haley, and Candace of Music Therapy Made Simple. I hope you enjoyed part 1 last week and you're ready for more authentic conversation, uplifting insights, and just awesome connections in this episode. These ladies are so kind. So friendly, so honest, and so passionate about what they're doing, the supports they're providing and putting together for the music therapy community. So if you don't already follow them on social media, definitely do that. Also follow Music Therapy Chronicles if you don't already. Jump on our newsletter, and if you are interested in continuing education opportunities for the time you've spent listening to the show, you can find those on mtpodcastcollective.com. Again, that's mtpodcastcollective.com. All right, let's get into today's episode.
The night we launched Music Therapy Made Simple, we've been pouring our heart and our soul into this thing 5 hours before, 5 hours before midnight. We're like, Candace, oh my gosh, to see on the website, do you think you can change it? We're having second thoughts about this stuff here. Oh my gosh, we wanted to get this thing together. And pretty soon it's 2:00 in the morning. We're like, we just have to publish it. We just have to do it. Is it perfect? No, but we got to do it. And just sitting down to walk through that, trusting yourself that you can do this, and then just starting it out, and not be afraid to have conversations with other people, even in general, even if you're convinced I'm going to do this as a solo venture, have conversations with other people too. You want to make sure that you are filling a need Like if there's a hole, you want to like fit inside that hole. And so talk to other people and be like, is this something like, do we need to shift? And that's like how we've done a lot in our business where like this is what the need is, but the needs have shifted. So we have to be in constant community, constant conversations with people to make sure that we're still fitting in that hole that like we are desiring to be in the areas that we want to help. And so have conversations with people, and then also don't be afraid to bring other people on if it is then appropriate. Like we didn't bring Candace onto our team because she's a clone of us. We brought her on because she did the things that needed to be done that we weren't gifted in doing. And so talk to people about stuff. Don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to ask other people onto your team and just get other ideas from them as well.
I think you kind of said that, like collaboration, Trisha, and like shared experience, and where people kind of resonate with shared experiences and connections. And the last 2 semesters of grad school, I took an entrepreneurship class in the business school, and I got to meet like a ton of different people with different backgrounds, and that was really exciting because we all had like that shared connection of wanting to talk about entrepreneurship, but also everyone came from different backgrounds. I would sit next to the computer science people and just like stare and listen because they had ideas and things that just blew my mind, that was even possible by humans. I couldn't believe it. But even having conversations outside of your realm, I think, is super important. Even in the early stages of thinking about the idea of music therapy made simple and launching, just talking to my friends who are speech language pathologists and explaining the idea and having them be like, wait, what? I'm confused. Or saying, what if you did this, you know? So I think there are many tips, but an encouragement piece that I would love to share is just to talk outside of your realm, to get other perspectives, because I think that's really important.
And I would add, for any business type adventure, whether that is you creating a private practice, you creating an online business, creating a podcast, writing a book, like whatever it is that like you are doing, remember to charge what you're worth and be worth what you charge. Because especially in a helping profession, a lot of times we're like, oh, like it's okay, like $15 is fine, and I'll, you know, come to your house with it for like an hour and a half and like give you a session. It's like, we have a heart for people, but we also have to remember like we are worth money. We have value also in this realm. Other, you know, we have value in like the job that we're doing, but we also have bills to pay, and it's okay to charge for that. Like all other types of professions, like everyone else that has a job, you're like, I would love to do what I could do for free, but I can't. Therefore, making sure that you are charging what you're worth. Like it's okay, just have this for free, or knowing like that is worth something, and having just the gumption to put that value on it yourself.
Yeah.
Which is hard. I tell my students that all the time, like as they're getting ready to go off to internship and then looking for a job, I'm like, remember, you have value and you should charge what that value is. And it's a hard thing, I think, in our profession to say, because we're not all just money people. We didn't get into this because we're like, yeah, I'm so excited to be a music therapist to become a millionaire. That's just not a reality. But also, people aren't really upset about that because we're here to help people. But we have to remember that like other similar professionals are also asking to be paid what they are worth being paid for. And we have the right to do the exact same thing.
I don't think we really even got into those conversations too until I had taken those courses and we had like worked through a business plan. So I think that's another piece too that I would encourage people who might be doing a solo entrepreneurship experiences or a team experience would be to really try to formalize like what it would look like. Because like you said, if you get really excited as an idea girl, or you just might just think of so too many things and not write them down, you know? So really having a plan that might include financials, that would include how you might be marketing, and yeah, there's something that we called that was like a lean process that we learned in this class. But there's so many pieces that are really important. But I think writing that out and kind of seeking out what that plan might look like when you're starting something is critical. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think honestly, one of the biggest things when we started to was like understanding too that like we're going to make mistakes, but all of those are going to be opportunities for us to learn so much more. And
Mm.
so like the mistakes that are happening or the things that like we post that have spelling errors, or when we realize that we forgot to link a document in one of the purchases that people can buy, all those things where we're like, okay, well now we know, right? So I think when you're starting, recognize that the mistakes are only going to continue to help you to produce what you want to produce. And it doesn't mean that you're not capable, right? Like I think it just provides so many more opportunities for growth and adjustments. And I think that's so important as you're starting out and recognizing that all of these things that happen and that feel like almost the weight of the world when they're on you because you're so excited, that it really is just going to provide more opportunities for you to adapt and change and provide what is needed because you're learning yourself. And so I think don't be afraid to welcome those mistakes and be like, all right, we're going to sit in this. It doesn't feel right, but here it is. It happened. And so we had to learn that ourselves too, as we're like producing stuff and like creating materials and just in general. And so I think when starting out, just recognizing like it's okay. It's all part of the process, and you're not doing anything wrong if that happens.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, well said. Such good stuff in there. So tell us what's up and coming with Music Therapy Made Simple. Like, it doesn't have to be any secret reveal if you're keeping things to yourselves, but what's brewing? I know you guys just had like a meeting about.
We did.
Yeah.
We had our dream meeting for the year. Some of the things are still, so we in that document we're working with like, here's the action items that we got to get done, who's doing what, and then we have a whole section at the bottom of like, here's things that we're still brainstorming, thinking about, sitting with, gonna see how they evolve.
Mm.
But I would say one of the things that we will be sharing very soon, Katie and Candace hopefully are not mad that I'm just announcing this one, is that we are hoping to get into some of artists' own CMTE opportunities through some courses either on our website or partnering with some other people, and just finding where in our community, like who in our community is needing what,
Mm.
and getting very excited about putting that stuff together.
Awesome.
Something that I have been so excited about is getting another piece of a collaboration with having other music therapists and other people outside of the profession on our social media of any kind. I absolutely love when people do like takeovers, or when we get to hear interviews of other people. Even the one I listened to from pediatric music therapy, one of my former students was on there, and I was just like beaming the whole time, getting to hear like their shared experiences and then things that they had learned. So just like you said, hearing those common experiences, I think is so meaningful. So we have a few opportunities coming up for that, and hopefully we'll be sharing those in our newsletter really soon this month, which you can sign up for on our website if you want to get the newsletter. Also, you can do that. I was going to say too, we did one in November, a skill builder for verbal processing. It was just a 1 hour quick course. We had a blast doing it, and we're going to do a second round of a skill builder in March. What are we in, February? Yeah, in March. So that will also be in the newsletter on a different topic. So we're really excited about that too.
Awesome. I will I will link all that so it's easy for people to find in the show notes there. So Yeah, we've covered a lot. Is there anything else that you guys wanna share before we move into the rapid fire questions?
I think we just thank you, Trisha, for like having us on here.
No,
But
just like talked your ear off.
yes,
That's the point. It's your
we're all
episode.
like very big talkers too.
I appreciate
But
it.
we're just excited to like continue to connect with our community. So just encourage anyone listening to find us on Instagram or on Facebook, just Music Therapy Made Simple, and pay attention for new things that are coming. A lot of that will first be announced in our newsletters as they're coming out, as we're rolling out some of our new like January big ideas. And we'll just continue to just like stay in contact with people.
Cool. Alrighty. So, rapid fire questions. You guys can round robin however works best for you. The first one is coffee or tea?
I answered this one earlier. Tea for me, Haley.
Coffee.
I am a strictly tea drinker. I can't do coffee anymore. I just can't.
Katie's
It's so
shaking her head
delicious.
for the
It's I
listeners.
know I'm shaking my head, but it's it gives me life.
That's fine.
I love it.
I love it. It gives me life.
It does. It makes me happy. I know that it's like an addiction when you wake up in the morning and you feel so happy just to have coffee. I know that that's a problem, but I just love it. I know these gals are tea drinkers, so when we do get together, I know that I'm gonna be outnumbered. That's for sure.
You gotta do what works for you. All right, early bird or night owl?
I am 1,000% a night owl. I would rather stay up until like 1 o'clock and get up at like 8 or 9 than like go to bed early and get up at 6 any day of the week.
Mm-hmm. My best brain power happens from like midnight to 3 a.m. Very strange, but
Same.
yeah, we're all very much night workers.
That's probably helpful.
Yeah, it is helpful. I do feel like because then we're not I think if one of us was in morning like a super morning person, then we probably would be more respectful of like texting so late. But I think the nice part about it is like, oh hey, finish this. Oh hey, someone post this. And it's like midnight and then someone will reply at like 3 a.m. and we're like, hey, got it. And you're like, all right, well, it got done. So yeah, we're definitely night owls.
Okay. Something you would tell your younger self. Oh, the faces. I wish the listeners could see the faces.
There's so many things.
I think I would probably tell myself that it's okay to fail sometimes.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't define you as a person and your worth is not like valued based on tons of people's opinions. I think when we're in school, we get so much, our value often correlates with our grades or our interactions with professors, and so I think sometimes it's hard to get out of that shift as we
Hmm.
get older. And so I think that's definitely what I would tell myself is like, you're great how you are. You're working hard, you're doing what you do.
I would tell myself to go to personal therapy earlier. I just
Hmm.
started about a year ago and I've just grown so much and value that time every week with my own therapist just beyond more than I ever thought I would. So I'll be like, girl, do it sooner.
I think I would remind myself that we often are doing more than we recognize,
Hmm.
or that we are making more of an impact than we recognize. Kind of talking about those like strength based assessments of yourself. Um, just recognizing moments where you did something really meaningful for a person in a session, or a small, token, an action, something that you did that was really small, that was meaningful, that may have supported someone else in a different way. So just, yeah, remembering that you are doing more than you think and you have more influence and impact on others than you might recognize.
Those are all really good ones. Your music therapy elevator speech.
I mean, of course, part of it depends on who you're talking to, but I like to do more concrete examples for mine. So, hey, I'm a music therapist, or like music therapist. What does that mean? What do you do? I said, well, for myself, I work with a lot of kids with disabilities, and I may be using music and music experiences to help them interact with their peers, to communicate effectively, and to like self-regulate and work on like sensory processing. And we do that through singing, playing instruments, creating music, just whatever that they need in that moment.
Yeah, I think that I would echo exactly what Haley said. Of a story that like comes to mind is that I had for a few semesters in grad school and while in West Virginia, I was working with incarcerated adults, and there were so many times where I would talk to guards about music therapy, and the way that I would really get across to them was like storytelling of like things that would happen within the session. So yeah, just echoing Haley, but also recognizing that a lot of how I feel like our elevator speeches happen is like storytelling what might happen in a session, or like impact that you might have seen that people really resonate with or can understand based on the story that you've told.
Okay, well, I heard bits and pieces of some of theirs. Gotta love technology, really. Um, I feel like I often just go out over the fact that like I'm just using music to support you and your because I children, whatever that looks like for you guys. So if it's like if they're in pain, I can use music to help relax them. If they're going through a lot and they don't know how to process it all, we can use music to process through that experience. And so kind of really bringing it to what their experiences is and how I can use that, kind of similar to what Katie said, but I feel like it's so different for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I love this question. Everyone has a different take on it. And I think it's important in our field to like hear why people say certain things and how they get that conversation going. So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. All right. Your favorite self care practice?
Reading a book before I go to bed.
Do you have a book to recommend?
Oh, God.
You don't have to. Totally put
So
you on the spot.
I'm currently reading Where'd You Go, Bernadette? And it's a very interesting like book structure. It's not like a typical chapters. So I'm enjoying like that different aspect. My favorite book series, if you're into, I love like thrillers, mystery, crime kind of stuff. And I love the Jack Reacher books by Lee Child. Those are like, I'm this year, it's my goal to finish. I have like 4 books left in this series. It's my goal to finish the series.
Cool.
My self care staple is spending time with family and going on walks, getting outside, getting some fresh air and sunshine on my face when possible.
I would say that my self-care staple is really just taking like a moment to myself and just like decompressing, whether that's like sitting outside or just like sitting in one of my like comfortable chairs and just kind of like reflecting on the day and just taking a moment of like honestly silence, just so that I feel like I can then like breathe again and just let it go. Um, and I'm also a big fan of bubble baths.
Yes, that's the best place to silently let it go and reflect.
I did not say this as
I
a
know,
staple.
it really is.
Sorry. I did not say this as a staple because I just started it like within the last 2 months, but I have recently started journaling, and I love it. And I never thought that I would um, keep up with it, but it's something that has been awesome. And if you haven't tried writing stuff down, maybe you can try it.
Yeah, I'm also always down for a good journaling session. Something that's currently adding value to your life.
Gosh, that's a tough one.
I would say for me right now with like COVID and not really being able to like physically see people as much, I think very intentional conversations is spending intentional time talking to someone and being as present as I can, given the fact that we're not with each other. Um, and even just like with when I am able to see family, like being very intentional in that time and trying to put my phone away and like just finding moments to be as present as possible because there's so many distractions. I think that I found so much value in fostering relationships that I have by just being intentional.
Mm.
I'm not too proud to say that I've started this just recently, but the three of us are pretty good at being like workaholics and working all the time. And recently, I feel like we've been doing a, a good job of like taking at least one day of the weekend to like be a weekend
Mm.
and to really just take time away from screens and work and telehealth and that kind of thing. And that's been adding so much value. Like, just value in resting has been awesome.
Good for you.
Mine is actually a combination of Candace's and Katie's because I am living with just these fantastic ladies right now, which is just a wonderful community to be in, especially just with the craziness of grad school and running a business and planning a wedding and like all of this crazy stuff that's happening. So I'm living with a wonderful community, but they're also a community that reminds me to rest
Mm.
and tell me like you need to take a break and like when's the last time you just didn't work for a little bit, or how about you just like come and enjoy a 15-minute dance break with us just to step away from stuff. And I've just been so thankful for them recently.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's one of the things I miss about college living situations is like everyone being so close and being like, get off your computer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Your favorite song or intervention to use in a session?
I'm over here laughing because
We just talked.
we we just talked about this. We were going through some stuff with our business, preparing things for the future. Like, what's your favorite thing? I'm like, my gosh, how do you even choose?
Mm.
My favorite thing has been this song called Better Days. And I posted it on our Instagram story, but it is a bop and it is so good. And the message is awesome and it's um it has really good words, it has like good meaning, and it can be taken in many different ways. I think I did it with two different groups last week, and it was hilarious to see how different their fill in the blanks were, which was also really cool and inspiring. But in general, if you just want to listen to the song, that's amazing too. It's called Better Days. It's by Aunt Clemens. It has Justin Timberlake in it also. But pick the version where they're like in front of a movie theater, because at the end there's like a group of gospel singers, and then there's like more people out in the street, and it's really cool, and you should watch it.
I'll link it.
I don't really have a favorite song that I can point to right now, but I love getting creative. I've loved recently with telehealth stuff. So before any like in-person stuff, I love getting creative with drums,
Mm.
finding new ways to use drums, drumming interventions, them using drums, me using drums, moving the drums, coloring the drums, like all sorts of different things. Just love using drums. But I've also really enjoyed recently doing a lot of body percussion since drums are not always accessible for my clients, and just finding fun ways to like make sounds and create music just with what we have on our person.
I would say one of my favorites is this song by, it's called Thoughts. I can't think of who sings it right now. Um, I'll have to check. And they just like come and they happen. And I love doing that in conjunction with a brain dump where all of the patients like dump the stuff that's in their brain, and then they can decide what they want to do with it afterwards, like if it's something that would be helpful for them to keep and see and recognize, or if they feel like it would be more triggering or um, harmful for them to keep, like what do they want to do with it after. Do they want me to take it and shred it? Do they want to shred it up and then I can get it away from them? So I love using the song Thoughts.
I think it's Zoe Weiss, Zoe.
That one's Control. I do love that song.
Oh,
Like, yeah, I can't remember the Thoughts one. Um, it's gonna bug me.
That's okay. I'll find it, or you can email it to me or something. We'll find it. I'll have those linked. So the last question is, where can the listeners find you guys and connect with you?
Yeah. So we are a lot of times on Instagram at Music Therapy Made Simple, but we also show up on Facebook, just also our name, Music Therapy Made Simple, and love chatting with people on there. I'm just getting to know people, connect with our community. But if you're looking for more, you can also find us at our website, musictherapymadesimple.com. If you have questions about specific things, you can reach out to us on the contact page. If you're looking for materials and resources, like feel free to check things out. If you're wanting some extra support, you can sign up for supervision. All of our stuff does start with a free 10-minute conversation where you can just kind of get to know us too. Like that could be a big scary step to take sometimes, where you're like, I need help, but like, what if this person isn't going to help me? What if I won't actually enjoy my time with them? What if I don't get along or feel comfortable being vulnerable with them and saying, this is my problem? We want to like help ease that. And so we'll just chat with you for like 10 minutes, figure out like what you're needing support in, and make sure that you get along with us. And then if you do, great. If you want to keep going, awesome. And if not, that's your decision to make. And we're not going to push you into anything. And then you go find someone else that's going to fit your needs better. But you can sign up for all of that there, or you can just reach out to us directly and we'd love to help you. You're like, hey, I'm looking for this, but like thought you had something on the website, couldn't find it. We can point you in the direction, or would love to collaborate and create something with you that would like meet that need.
Awesome. Well, I will link all that for the listeners so they can find you guys, connect with you, check out your resources, your consulting and supervision, and be up to date on all the new stuff you're rolling out. Thank you so much for making the time to be on the show.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is so fun. Thanks.
Of course.
Seriously, thanks for having us.
Of course. Thank you for talking with me. I love hearing people's passions and what they do. So, yeah. And thank you for what you're doing for the music therapy community at large. We need it so much.
Awesome. Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, thanks.
Let us know what we can do to help.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed part 1 and part 2 of this conversation. I definitely left this interview feeling inspired and calm and reassured that, you know, our strengths are there, whether or not we recognize them. And it's important to not be too hard on ourselves, to seek support when we need it, and know that we're doing our best and it's a journey. So I hope you are feeling positively after listening to this conversation too. As always, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes and Facebook. Those reviews really help the podcast to be more visible to other people looking for this type of content. If you're an avid listener of the show and you want continuing education credits for listening to the show, as well as some exclusive content in the form of a CMTE course, you can find those at mtpodcastcollective.com. You can also follow MT Podcast Collective on social media, along with following Music Therapy Chronicles on social media. And as always, if you or someone you know is interested in being on the show, or if there's someone you want me to reach out to have on the show, you can let me know by sending an email to hello@musictherapychronicles.com. Links for all of those things will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode, and I will see you in the next one. This quote comes from Madam C.J. Walker. "Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them happen."